Welcome back to my channel, everybody. And today's topic is 5 subtle things that you're saying that actually make you look weak. I know there's actually some things that you say in your conversation that make you look weak, and we're going to be talking about that today. So, you don't want to be giving away your power in conversation, and there are some subtle things that you do, not knowing it, of course, not on purpose, of course, but things that you can be doing in conversation, especially with toxic people, especially with narcissists, especially with people that you don't want to be doing this with. You want to make sure that you are in the most powerful position possible, in the most authentically powerful position possible. And that's what I do with you right here on this channel. I'm Rebecca Zung. I have been recognized as one of the top 1% of attorneys in the country. I am the author of the best-selling book, Slay the Bully, How to Negotiate with a Narcissist and Win and Negotiate Like You Matter. And if you're new here, welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you haven't subscribed, do that now. Subscribe, hit that notification bell, because we are all things empowerment and living your best life, negotiating your best life. Today, we are talking about ways that you might be giving away your power. And number 5 is going to surprise you. We're going to be talking about 5 subtle things that you might be saying, doing, that make you look weak or give away your power. It's really important the way you use language. And I saw this in court so many times. I saw this in mediation so many times, and especially in disempowering, in high conflict scenarios, right? Or situations where you're dealing with toxic people, whether you're negotiating a contract or you're standing in your living room. You don't want to be using language that could potentially make people think that you're weak. Body language is another thing, right? But even just language in general. The first thing is over apologizing, especially women. I hate to say it. I hate to say it against my own gender, but it's true. Like, we get run into the back by a shopping cart at the grocery store, and we're the ones saying sorry. What the heck? But that happens. Even when an apology isn't warranted, we're over here saying sorry. There's times we could be saying, excuse me. There's times that we could be saying, thank you for the invitation. There are times that we could be saying, thank you for your patience. But there's things that we could be saying other than sorry. That's my point. I want you to be thinking about that, really be looking at ways that you can substitute, something other than sorry, right? Because you want to be standing in your authentic power and not be constantly saying sorry. And I remember I had an assistant in my office. I think she thought she was being nice, because she just kept saying sorry, 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 sorry. And honestly, it would get on people's nerves after a while. And I think that that's not something that you want. You don't want to be like almost like a pansy or a doormat, right? So you got to be careful where there's times where you can offer substitutes instead of saying constantly sorry. So that's the first one. The second one is self-deprecating humor. There are times that it can actually be good to use self-deprecating humor. There are times that you definitely want to look humble, you want to look modest, and it can make you look likable. And I think that's a lot of times why people use it. Putting yourself down constantly can also work to your detriment. A lot of times, even in jest, it can signal to others that it's acceptable to do the same. And then they start putting you down too. And you don't want that. You don't want other people to start looking down on you. You don't want other people to start thinking less of you. You don't want other people to start thinking, they're probably not very good at what they do. If you start saying, well, I'm really disorganized anyway, or something like that, and then they'll go, well, that person's really disorganized. You don't want to say things like that about yourself, even in jest. You just want to be careful about using that self-deprecating humor. Use self-affirming humor, or be careful about the kinds of statements that you make about yourself. Well, I'm actually pretty good at that. Yeah, but not saying it in a way that's like comes off sounding conceited or narcissistic or whatever, but there are times that you can make jokes that aren't always at your own expense. The next thing is hedging language. Hedging language. And what is that? What is that? I think a lot of times we are trying to not come off as like too bossy or too forward or like right in there. So we say, maybe we could just, or, oh, you can do this if you want, or we don't have to, or I just think. That's kind of hedging language. I just kind of, instead of do this or this is how it should go. People want to feel like they're hanging back because they think it's going to present as more likable, as less confrontational, as less aggressive. I have a certification program, which is amazing, by the way. I'm not going to be self-deprecating and say, oh, it's not that great. I'm going to tell you it's fantastic. I have a high conflict negotiation certification program, which is fantastic. And you can go to highcontra.com and figure out more about that. But I'm going to just tell you that I was actually just doing some of the final observations of some of the coaches because part of the program is doing some live role plays. I was having a conversation with one of the coaches because as part of the live role play, she had some fantastic ideas, but she was really kind of hanging back and she was really, well, you could do this if you want to, but you don't have to, and really sort of soft spoken. I said to her, I said, if you're going to be a coach, people want to feel confident in their coach. They want to feel like their coach is supporting them, leading them. He's somebody that they can count on, somebody that they can count on as a guide who's going to help bring them into their future. So I told her, you've got great ideas. Present them. Be assertive. She was like, yeah, I know that I do that. So I'm going to say to you the same thing. I'm encouraging you to state your opinions. You can do it in a way that is not in a person's face. You can do it in a way that's respectful. There's always a way to do it with warmth, with respect, with kindness, with goodness. Assume that you are a good person. Know that it comes from your heart, and then it'll all fall into place. Does this make sense? If it makes sense, I want you to say "makes sense" in the comments below. I've said before in other videos, when you guys comment, it helps the channel, it helps the growth, but it also helps you guys. It helps each other because then you can start sparking conversation with each other. You can start supporting each other. It builds community. And this is a community that needs help. It needs support. We need to not feel isolated. We need to have a group of people that we know that we can go to. That's why I started Narcissist Negotiators with Rebecca Zung, which is my online Facebook group, which I highly recommend that you join. So please come and join us. So we want you there. And if you need phrases for disarming narcissists, get those from me, disarmthenarc.com, because they're amazing. They'll help you for text, emails, conversations, all of that. The next thing is seeking validation, seeking constant validation. I remember I did an interview with somebody one time, and she was like, oh, the only thing that I'm needing is I'll need you to validate me a lot. I'll need you to pat me on the back, quite a bit. There's a difference between seeking constructive feedback and needing constant validation, constant validation. Tell me I'm great. Tell me I'm good. That's what narcissists need, that constant adulation, that black hole, right? Trust your judgment. Reduce that need for external validation. Know who you are. That's so important because otherwise it makes you look weak. The next thing is, and this is number 5, deferring decisions. Saying, oh, I need to talk with so-and-so. I need to talk with my husband. I don't have agency to make my own decisions. Deferring decisions can erode that sense of like I've got the power in my own hands. Look at how you can start to make at least small decisions on your own, and or that maybe you have the power to make decisions before you walk into a meeting or before you walk into a situation, so that it appears that you have agency, that you have power. And that way it doesn't appear like you don't have power in your own hands, right? So you can manage situations a little bit differently. Body language is also a really, really important thing. How you carry yourself, how you present yourself, the way you look at people in the eye, the tone that you use is also really important. How you present yourself, how you stand, how you sit, being a little bit more open, not slumping, not like this, right? Smiling, being warm, even if your heart is beating 1,000 miles an hour, go scream in the shower, cry in the pillow if you need to, but never let them see you sweat. If you found this helpful, make sure you like it, make sure you share it. There's so many other people who need this information, who need access to this information. Make sure you save it, share it, whatever. You want to have power. You want to have authority. You want to have real power, not that fake power that narcissists have where they're like trying to have authority over people. That's not real power. What we're going for here is real, true power. We want you to maintain your empathy, maintain the true heart that you are, but also have expertise, also have authority, also know where you're going as a human being, which is that authentic true self that's deep inside of you. It's crying out, it's time for me to shine. You know you were born for more, right? You know you were born to shine and serve at the highest level of your soul. And that's what we're going for here. So if you haven't subscribed over here and hit that notification bell, what are you waiting for? The next video that I want you to watch is stop saying sorry, say this instead. Stop saying sorry, say this instead. It is so time for you to live at your highest, truest self, your highest level of power. All right. And I'm going to see you in that next video. I'm Rebecca Zung. I can't wait to see you there. It's time.